The UN Framework Convention on Climate Change has issued a draft decision on the Coronivia joint work on agriculture. It seeks to expand efforts to reduce the emissions of greenhouse gases of the agriculture sector in particular. The draft decision further states, and I'm quoting here, promoting a holistic approach to address issues related to agriculture and food security and taking into consideration the regional, national and local circumstances. It is imperative to deliver a range of multiple benefits such as adaptation, co-benefits and mitigation. So the draft is essentially noting the importance of considering a sustainable land and water management system for agriculture in a way that could have lesser damage or impact on the environment. India meanwhile has opposed the draft text on agriculture and has said that these are not luxury emissions, but in fact survival emissions of the poor. New Delhi further asserted on how the world is facing a climate crisis because of the excessive historic cumulative emissions by the developed nations and are now searching for cheaper solutions abroad. Citing its stand, India said that in most developing countries across the world, agriculture is done by small and marginal farmers who had to toil hard and brave the vagaries of extreme weather and climate change. According to the 2011 census, 54.6% of the total workforce is engaged in agriculture and allied sector activities and accounts for 17.8% of the country's gross value added for the year 2019 and 2020. Meanwhile, in yet another instance which took place last month, the farmers in New Zealand gathered in cities and towns across the country to protest against the government's plan to be the first country in the world to tax emissions from farm animals. Now, to understand what this means and how this will affect India in particular, we are now being joined by Dr. Chandra Bhushan from Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt. Dr. Bhushan, thanks so much for joining us. Now, let's try and understand why India is opposing this text, particularly on agriculture. Of course, India is an agrarian economy. So what does this proposal mean for India, specifically the farmers?
Well, India is opposing, the mitigation focus aspect of agriculture. If developed countries are thinking about making agriculture as a major platform for reducing emissions while they continue to burn fossil fuel, then that's not a just and fair deal. And that's what India is opposing. But if agricultural deal is about adaptation and co-benefit, if it is about land management, if it is about supporting small farmers, if it is about providing social safety net for loss and damage in the agriculture sector, then it is in benefit of India. So my sense is that India is opposed to making agriculture a mitigation-focused discussion. That's what developed countries would like to make. But if it is about adaptation, if it is about improving our water and land management and sustainable agriculture, it is in the benefit of the country.
Right. Dr. Bhushan, this also sort of points at a larger picture that developing nations have to carry the burden of climate action when it is the legacy of developed countries, which is what makes the loss and damage funds so controversial at the climate summit. Tell us more about that.
Well, that has been the topic for discussion over the last years. I don't think that we will resolve that topic even today. The indications are that the COP is going to be extended for another 24 and 36 hours. But the loss and damage, discussion is mired in multiple complexities. Developed world is not keen to have a separate fund, especially the US, because it believes that if it is recognized that you need a separate fund, then you're recognizing the liability of developed countries for causing damage in developing countries. And that damage is now in billions of dollars. Pakistan's flood, for example, is estimated to have caused a loss of about $50 billion to Pakistan, which is about 13-14% of Pakistan's GDP. Now, if that kind of loss is happening in developing countries, and if developed countries are going to become liable for that, then they are into a big trouble. And that's what they are fearing. But the fact is this. We need a global cooperative mechanism in which the most able, the countries with resources, can support countries who don't have resources. Right. And that's what loss and damage is all about. So I think that discussion is continuing. I'm hopeful that we will have some positive outcome. Let's see for next 24 hours what is coming out of Sharm el-Sheikh.
Right, Dr. Bhushan, thanks so much for all those inputs and thanks for joining us on WION's Climate Tracker today.
Thank you.
WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.